All right, y'all. So I have a very special guest on the channel today. I'm super excited. We've been trying to get a collaboration for a while. So I'm joined by Andy from Bitcoinsensus. What's going on, man?
What's up, brother? I'm doing absolutely phenomenal. And I am actually excited for this bear market because it gives us time to accumulate some Bitcoin, right? So, yeah,
Yeah,
I'm doing pretty good. Channel's doing good. How are you doing anyway?
I'm doing all right, man. Just going through the bear market, just scalping and stuff like that, pretty much. Man, the past few weeks have been crazy. Did you get in any shorts with this FTX thing?
I did, but I took profits too fast. I should have left. I should have rode more to the downside. But anyway, I did manage to get into some nice shorts. Did you?
Yeah, I'm actually still in a Bitcoin short from, um, I think it was like the day that the news got announced or the rumor came
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
Still holding it, man, because hey, if we wick down to 10K, 9K, 6K, 3K, why not? Why
Exactly.
not hold it? You know?
Exactly. Take profits on the way down, though, right?
Yeah, of course, of course, of course. Yeah.
Nice.
But it's been boring the past few weeks. I think I've taken like four trades in the past 2 weeks, like four Bitcoin trades.
Me too. Me this week, I've just made two trades. Well, this week, today's Tuesday, but yeah, between last week and this week, only about two trades. Yeah, I've been very, very boring. Trying to get into those scalping scenarios. But yeah, overall, well, I want to see some volatility. If we see some volatility in the next coming days, man, because it's getting boring.
Yeah. I think my opinion is that the bottom is in soon. Not the next bull run, but the bottom,
Yeah.
you know?
I also think so. I also think so. A lot of people calling for 10K, 8K. And I think, is there a possibility to reach those levels? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we haven't seen a stock market crash. That is very, very much possible in the next coming weeks and months.
Yeah.
A minor capitulation, hash rate's going through the roof right now. And, miners are in insane pressure. They have about, 8, 9% of the entire Bitcoin supply, So, if they decide to sell 2, 3%, Bitcoin's gonna take a massive hit to the downside. So it's in the cards that we can go down to those levels, but overall we're having a nice consolidation at this range, and I think a local bottom is just very, very possible. We could go back up to 18, maybe 20K in the coming months
Yeah.
before we go lower.
Yeah, so I want you to pull up some charts. I want to ask you some questions about specifically like the dollar, stock market, and Bitcoin. But first, I do want to know, are you in a long right now?
I'm actually in a long and a short position. I'm doing some scalp day trades ranges, which I can explain right now while I share the chart. So
Yeah. So you're in a
yeah,
schlong, a schlong.
a schlong, yeah. I'm in a
Nice.
schlong.
A
They're
big
both in
schlong.
profit, right? They're kind of hedging one to
Yeah.
each other. So yeah, it's
Yeah. I stay schlong, bro. That's all I do.
yeah. I mean, as traders, you need to go, long and short. You need to
Yeah.
be a bear and a bull at the same time. So
Yeah.
let me just try and share the charts here. Just 1 second. All right. So you can see the chart, right?
I can. Yeah, it looks good, man.
Yeah, I mean, just to keep it like really simple for all of those that are, not experienced, and even for the ones that are experienced with technical analysis. All right. I'm just going to show you here. This is the weekly chart. All right. I'm taking a look even at the 2018, 2019 price range. Okay.
Hmm.
And, basically, the all-time high weekly close of Bitcoin, which is around about $19,400 approximately, around that range, we can see how we were holding this level, the entire summer, right? It was June, July, August. You can see those bounces right over here, exactly from that weekly close and open from the all-time high of 2017, right? So that level is lost. So which is our next big major level here, looking at the weekly candlestick, where we can see that weekly close and open right over here also, okay, back in January of 2018. This is currently where we're holding. This is the 16,000 range, 16,000 level, okay, open and close. Right over there, we've had, this consolidation now for the last couple of weeks, right? We've been hitting 15.5, not managing to go lower, coming back up to above 16,000 and just at that range right now. So this is range is holding, as you can see. Question is, will this level hold? Will we get that big bounce from this massive weekly level from January of 2018? Because if we lose this level, Jason, in my personal opinion, it's very likely we're going to go to $12,000 and even sub $12,000, maybe trying to tackle that 10K level.
Yeah.
As you can see here on the price action, you know, the price action in between 16K, which is this over here, and 12K, we've had very fast movements here in less than 2 weeks, right? And here was just you know, about 3-4 weeks fast price action to the upside and to the downside. So we don't have major support in between 16 and 12K. This is telling me if we do lose that 16K range here, so finally breaking down from 15.5, which is the wicks that we were having to the downside, you know, it's just highly probable that if we do start breaking with a large volume, that 15.5, you know, that it's kind of almost guaranteed, in my opinion. Of course, nothing is guaranteed in technical analysis, but we got a high probability and coming down to the strongest support range, which is round about the $12,000 level, where we have several weekly closes here. This is the weekly chart on Bitcoin. We can see weekly closes at that level in February, weekly closes here also in July and August. We also have here in August of 2020. So this is August of 2019 and July, and this is August of 2020. It's a big major level that's been respected as resistance.
It's massive.
So yeah, I mean, if we lose 16K, which is our last kind of level here, the 15.5, you know, and you can take a look at the volume profile. I like to take a look at the volume profile because here we just have too much volume. You know, I'm going to be buying aggressively Bitcoin at those 12K levels already, because yeah, I mean, a lot of people calling 10K, 8K, you know, even 3K, which I think is ridiculous. I don't think Bitcoin will go down to 3K. You know, we never know. But overall, I will be aggressive if we do go down to 12K, because you know, this is the bear market highs from
Right.
2018, 2019, you know, 2020. It's just unlikely that we're going to go below those bear market highs from the last cycle with a huge amount of volume, you know. And yeah, that's basically my personal opinion here, looking at the weekly chart. And this could actually
Yeah.
hold in the short term. We could get that bounce here because it's a strong level. Like I showed you, this weekly level, right? Just to keep it simple, we did get those bounces from the all-time high weekly. We got a nice weekly level here from January of 2018, right? Those highs
Yeah.
here. We're getting a reaction. So that bounce is very possible in the short term. We got a local bottom, and we could
Yeah.
hit that 19K level also, you know, right over here. So that would be a
Yeah.
kind of
A retest.
a retest here of
Yeah.
this major support level, you know, to actually finally continue back down to the
Yeah.
downside here.
That's actually one of the scenarios I'm kind of hoping for, to actually short 19K. But you
Yeah.
know, the current level we're at right now, I really just don't like this as a bottom, because you know, the first reason is because when we put in the weekly open, weekly close
Yeah.
back in the beginning of the last bear market, you know, before we broke out in 2020, we
Yeah.
actually retested that level. And so it's already been kind of hit once. So I feel like this is probably not our bottom, but I really like that 11,500 level
Yeah.
underneath here. So I also, you know, I want to ask your opinion. Like, in my opinion, this does not look like the bottom. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, it doesn't, it can look like a local bottom. So I think, you know, it does make sense after this major drop that we've had with the FTX fiasco, you know, which was on the, you know, 8th, 9th of November, where we had this massive drop from 21K down to 16K levels. It does make sense after a consolidation to potentially get a relief rally. So a local bottom here, maybe for the next coming weeks. But overall, I am still not bullish. We're still in very early stages of this brutal bear market, and we need to see a
Yeah.
lot of sideways action to be confident that the bottom is potentially in, right? So we're still
Yeah.
moving down aggressively. If we get that bounce, I think there's a high chance that we're going to test, you know, 15.5K again, and maybe even have another move to the downside before we actually finally find a bottom and start getting that relief rally, you know, in 2023.
Yeah, right now the only way I would get bullish is if we can reclaim 19K and test it as support.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing. I mean, I would be pretty confident that calling this the bottom, if we were to get above the all-time high level here, as you can see, the weekly, this major
Right.
support, if we suddenly climb up here and we have a massive candle to the upside, you know, I think it's going to be pretty difficult for Bitcoin to get back down that level with a confident move up above 19K. You know, this might be the bottom, and we start recovering, you know, and at the end of 2023 and finally getting into that bullish momentum. It's just very, very possible. But yeah, like you said, if we below 19K, it's, we're below one of the strongest levels of support that is going to be resistance, of course.
Yeah. So when do you think the next bull market will start? Obviously, we have the halving coming up, and
Well, I mean, I just want to share, this because this is basically showing you the net unrealized profit and loss. And I know maybe on-chain data, I mean, a lot of people like on-chain data, a lot of people don't, but this is real data that we can see, as blockchain is an open source, open network, and we can find out, where is the massive greed and where is the massive, blood in the market. There's a high percentage right now of people that bought Bitcoin the last couple of years that are in a big loss, right? Whoever has been buying Bitcoin, in 2021 and part of 2022, they just had a big, big loss. And we can see this on-chain data right over here, which is, pretty curious. Back in 2015, we were massively in this, loss range of people buying Bitcoin too high. And obviously that was a bottom signal back in 2015. Back
right.
in 2019, we had the same scenario on that last drop at the end of 2018. A lot of people in a loss when they bought Bitcoin, at 15K, 16K, or even 10K. And while Bitcoin was trading at 3-4K levels here in the bottom, this is showing you that, people are in panic, people are in a loss. It's just like, the market cycle is starting to begin again, right? Because
Right.
when it's in green, everybody's in profit, right? Everybody is in profit. So at some point, big players are going to start pulling a lot of amount of cash, selling those Bitcoin. So we've had that scenario in 2021 and late 2021 also. Right now, I think, we are very close to the bottom. I think we do have potentially several more months. As you can see, the red zone here of capitulation, where a lot of percentage of people that bought are in a loss. It does look like that we do have maybe a few more months at these price levels in between 10K and 20K.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say this is just a massive buying opportunity, Jason. So
Yeah. I agree with you. And I know some people are being very cautious, and I understand that. But even the way I look at it, if we dip down to 3K, um, assuming that the next bull cycle begins within the next year and a half, um, and we hit 100,000 Bitcoin, I mean, that's still a really good risk to reward ratio trade setup buying right now. I'm not
absolutely.
saying for anybody to put all their money into crypto. I'm not recommending anything, right? Because I'm not a financial advisor. But if you've been DCAing from here, and if we dip down lower, I mean, that's a really good risk to reward long-term swing trade setup. So, the fact that we see the new bull back down in the red, historically,
Yeah.
this has been the bottom. And you know what else? And I'm curious to get your opinion on this, but I'm actually of the view that the top of the bull market was in April 2021, April,
Yeah.
May, and not November.
Yes.
And I think the new bull chart reflects that as well.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I mean, there's a lot of people saying that the all-time high was in November, right? But
Right,
I mean, this for me was just a double top scenario. And it makes sense that this was an ABC correction. It wasn't a real pump. It wasn't a real move to the upside. It was basically a fake out. And this is the real all-time high,
right,
right? When you have an all-time high on any asset, the all-time high is this one, and the double top is not the all-time high. It was basically this one right over here, right? So
right.
I mean, I agree with you. I mean, I think the all-time high was right over here in April of 2021 and not November.
Yeah. And I think that the dollar reflects that as well, and so does the stock market. Um, but speaking of the stock market, I want to get your thoughts, because right now S&P 500 is, in my opinion, looking extremely bearish, coming back to retest major resistances.
It is.
Oscillators looking bearish.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to do some, simple analysis here
Yeah.
with what we got right over here on the S&P 500. This is the 12 hourly chart. We can go to the daily chart, actually, zoom out a little bit. And obviously, you can clearly see that we have been in an aggressive downtrend here in 2022, the entire year of 2022, basically since January, creating the all-time high here. So, massive lower highs. You got the resistance trend line. We're just getting these bounces to the upside, hitting Fibonacci levels. I use Fibonacci a lot for my trading also. If you take a look at the high here to the low, right, we're hitting the 61865 Fibonacci retracement here, getting the rejection. Same scenario right over here. From the high to the low, we're hitting 618 Fibonacci retracement levels. They're just being respected every single time. So we got a local high right over here and this local low. And if you take a look at fib levels, we are currently at the 618.
Right.
And it is getting a reaction, right? We are creating this short-term double top here in November. This is just not looking good. It's
Yeah.
not looking good.
And
This
to
is a
make it worse, it's
huge,
that we put in a higher high with the bearish divergence. So
yeah, well, yeah, just imagine, all of the different indicators, different scenarios are saying that, it's just looking quite bearish. So this is why I wouldn't be brave enough to say that Bitcoin has bottomed, because as the
right.
S&P 500 is highly correlated, if S&P starts getting, a massive drop here, testing these lows, likely to be broken, as it's going to be the third retest kind of, right? And so we should see like a capitulation maybe
Yeah.
entering into 2023. But I would say that, if we do see this scenario on the stock market, once we see a capitulation, this will be the sign of the bottom, basically, right? When we start getting a massive fall here for several days or a couple of weeks, and then start consolidating, just like what we saw on the C19 crash, right?
Hmm.
Here in March of 2020. If we start seeing a major collapse on stock market, maybe losing 15-20%, which is insane for the stock market to lose that kind of percentage, that is going to be an indicator that the bottom is getting very, very close, in my opinion. It's going to be in.
Yeah.
So I will be getting all of my USDT, USDC, all of my stable coins, and I'll be buying all sorts, Jason.
Yeah, for sure, man, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, this could bring the if all the markets dump, it could bring crypto down to another low.
Yeah.
And so what are your thoughts right now on, the Fed right now is raising interest rates over here, and as long as they do that, I think we're gonna see continued downside for all these risk
Yeah.
assets.
I mean, I've heard the last few weeks that they are going to start getting not too aggressive with interest rates. So,
Yeah.
I'm a little bit in doubt here. Stock market technically is looking extremely bearish,
Hmm.
but from 75 basis points, I have heard that they are going to get it down to 50 basis
50,
points
then
and down to
25.
25 by February of 2023, right? This is in the
Yeah.
next 2-3 months. So, is the market going to react bullish on that, as they are getting, they're not getting too aggressive, right, with the hikes? And this is the doubt that I do have, right? If they come out, in February, putting 25 basis points and lowering it down, by March, April of 2023, going to zero, and maybe I'm not sure if they're going to start getting them, getting 20%, 25% off. I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. But maybe just by that news, Jason, in my opinion, if suddenly in March, April, they say, okay, we're not raising interest rates anymore. I mean, we live in a crazy world. Then probably the stock market, even though it's at 5%, the interest rates, it might have a bullish reaction. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, if stock market, if S&P 500 does solidly, finally it might create a double bottom here. I do not know, but if it does break above this last lower high range, if we do create a lower high here at the 4,100 points and have a solid breakout in the coming months, I'm going to think, hey, does look pretty good. The market structure is changing. That we have a high chance in reaching the high, especially if interest rates are going to come down,
Right.
being close to zero.
And if they eventually, within the next year or two, start printing again, man, that will be Pump City, I think. I think that'll be Pump City.
Yeah, I mean, this event is going to happen, Jason, right? I mean, this is going to happen. We just do not know if it's going
Right.
to be in 2023 or if it's going to be, 2024. maybe the Federal Reserve is going to get interest rates hikes down to 25 basis points and then put it back up to 75, right? Something
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah. Who
And then
knows?
we have a massive crash then. But overall, they cannot continue with this for a long time. This is just temporarily, because if not, they're going to destroy the economy basically.
Yeah.
And and this is only temporarily. So I think by late 2023, entering into 2024, we're going to have to see a shift here in
Pivot.
interest rates, yeah, and bull run.
So that kind of leads me into the next question I have for you, because a lot of people are looking at what's going on in the world and saying, look, we're moving towards CBDCs. And I
Yeah,
think we would all agree. And what effect do you think that will have on the markets? Because, you know, I'm talking specifically about crypto markets.
yeah,
Do you think this is going to have a negative effect on cryptocurrencies? Because you have some people basically saying that, because of the whole FTX thing, which almost seems to be by design in order to bring in more regulation in CBDCs,
yeah,
is that going to have a negative effect on Bitcoin and things like that? Because people just aren't going to be able to use it in the way that they are used to, and they're basically fiat's going to be gone also. And
yeah,
so, how are they gonna exchange Bitcoin into some CBDC that they might not be able to? So this
yeah.
is a serious thing we need to be thinking about. So I want to know your opinion on it.
Yeah, I mean, I think short term it can have a bearish reaction. But as time goes on with the CBDCs, people are going to realize that it's just to have more control on the wealth of the people, and people not having their freedom, basically. And it's just going to have a bullish effect after having that bearish effect when people realize that we are being absolutely controlled by the system, and people are going to want back out from the system, using decentralization such as Bitcoin. So, I mean, short term, it might have a bearish effect, where people are going to think, okay, great CBDs, we don't need crypto. Crypto is going to be worthless, such as Bitcoin, because we can't, transact and get cash back from it. But overall, it's going to have its own value, Bitcoin, and people will transition back into it. So maybe short term bearish is my answer, and mid long term bullish.
Okay,
on,
interesting,
on
man. Yeah, it's definitely going to be a very interesting next few years, to say the least. Uh,
it's always interesting, man, in crypto and
yeah,
markets, isn't it?
yeah,
Even though right now is pretty boring. We're having a little bit
yeah.
of boring couple of weeks. I mean,
It'll be
but
exciting again
yeah,
before we
but I think
know.
we just we just about 2 weeks ago we had the FTX scenario, so that was massive volatility to the downside. But I think the people that are in crypto, we are used to volatility and we want volatility. When we get
Yeah,
these 5% moves to the upside and to the downside, we're like, oh, nothing's happening. But overall, there's still movements there to take advantage while trading, right?
yeah. That was such a crazy week. That was the best trading week I've had since May,
Yeah, yeah,
since that
yeah,
last major drop. And
yeah,
I think in I don't know, in a week I took like four massive trades, like massive. So it was
yeah.
it was
Amazing,
juicy. But now
amazing.
it's just like, come on, give me another exchange collapse or something. No, I'm joking, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah. Well, Andy, man, I really appreciate you coming on the channel, man, and sharing all your expertise. And where
yeah.
can people find you? If anyone hasn't heard of Andy from Bitcoinsensus, tell people where they can find you, social media and all that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, if you don't, I'll leave you the link. Andy, I do daily technical analysis on YouTube, okay, on Bitcoin, on stock market, also on the dollar, many other altcoins, a lot of live streams to connect with the community. Okay, so if you just type in, Andy Bitcoinsensus, you will probably find the link below on Jason's video. You can find me there, guys, and I do daily videos on technical analysis and also live streams to connect with the community. So you can find me there.
Cool, cool. All right, man. Well, we'll be in touch. We'll have to do this again sometime. And you have a good
Absolutely.
one.
Absolutely, man. Thank you for having me.
All right, peace.